What's going on, guys? And boy, do I have a treat for you. Today, we're going to talk about how to get no offered as a summer associate in Big Law, aka what are some of the wild stories that have transpired over the years where students have gone into these firms, had everything lined up for them. All they had to do was be like minimally competent, and then they did something crazy and they got no offered. Because in Big Law, it takes a lot to get no offered. These law firms want to have a 100% offer rate to their summer associates because that helps attract the next batch of students. What does it take to get no offered? Let's talk about it. Starting with example number 1, hitting on a partner's wife. Yes, that's right. At a happy hour, one student fatefully walked up to a very pretty woman and said, "You look beautiful. Can I take you out to dinner sometime?" Right up next to her walked the senior partner who had heard the comment, and it did not go down well. This might sound a little extreme. Now that I'm saying it, it kind of does sound a little crazy. Like, well, you know, how is he supposed to know? Like, there's kind of defensibility there, but in any event, didn't go down well. The partner didn't like it, and that associate was no offered. Number 2, falling asleep during a group meeting. That is exactly what it sounds like, except not only was it a group meeting, it was a meeting with a client, and obviously the clients are the customers of the law firm. You want to be as professional and impressive as you can be when you're around them, and that it was not what this summer associate did when they fell asleep during the client's presentation. No offered. Number 3, remarking to a female associate, quote, "Wow, you're pretty hot for a lesbian." Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Number 4, 2 summer associates having a lot of fun, maybe too much fun, and got physically active, if you know what I mean, in a partner's office. They were caught by a janitor who disclosed what they saw to management, and both of those summer associates were no offered. They had fun though. Number 5, and this is my personal favorite, and it's from a fellow alum from my law school, Harvard. There was a guy that apparently went to 2 different law firms, big law firms, didn't tell the other big law firm that they were working at the other big law firm. Both of these firms thought they were the only one. It's like a love triangle, but in big law. And the guy would leave one firm in the morning and go to the other firm in the afternoon, like every day. And this went on for like 5 weeks. And the firms didn't notice because summer associate programs are so chill that you can kind of get away with this type of stuff because most people assume that you're out getting coffee with an attorney if you're not in the office. And then Harvard Career Services, because they're so on the ball, Harvard Career Services, their number 1 job is to get you employed. We can talk about that later. And the Office of Career Services calls each firm and asks the firm how the associate has been doing, and they mention on the call that this associate was splitting their summer, so they just wanted to see how the firm was feeling about that. And then both firms asked the question, what do you mean this associate is splitting their summer? They're not splitting the summer. They never got authorization for that. They're only at our firm. And that was when the summer associate was found out, and they were immediately terminated. They didn't even get no offer. They got immediately fired from both firms. Absolute legend. Number 6, and this one is not as scandalous as some of the others, but it was actually a classmate of mine. They got an assignment from a mid-level associate. They didn't really understand how to do it, and they wanted help. So they reached out to a junior associate, and they said, "Hey, can you help me do this assignment?" And they more or less had the junior associate do the assignment for them because they just didn't know what they were doing exactly. Then they took that work product, and they sent it to the mid-level associate, and they said, "Hey, look, I did it." And they took basically full credit, did not mention at all that they asked the junior associate for help. And there was essentially my understanding that there was no trace of her work product here at all. It was purely copy and paste of what the junior associate did. The mid-level and the junior associate talked afterwards, realized that this person had just copy pasted the work and taken credit for it. That kind of spoke to their general incompetence. That combined with their lackluster personality and other sort of weird remarks got them a no offer. Number 7, there was a summer associate that was alleged to have sexually assaulted a different summer associate, and the surviving summer associate reported this to Human Resources and the partnership, and the alleged perpetrator was eventually no offered after an investigation. So these stories should give you a flavor of what it takes to get no offered at these firms. It's a lot. It's not enough to be like mid at your job. If you're mid at your job, most of the time, at least if you're like a nice person, Big Law is just gonna shrug and take you in. But if you're malicious, or if you're super incompetent, or if you just do something that questions like at the very basic level, if you understand mature professionalism, then yeah, you might be on the chopping block, and I don't blame these firms for doing that. Keep in mind, like, if this were tech or business or other fields, the summer intern and associate class is like the chance to compete and outdo each other because only a certain percentage of those folks will actually get a returning offer. Big law, by extension, is pretty generous. Unless you mess up a lot, you will get a returning offer. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, or at the very least a little bit entertaining. If it was, hit that sub button, drop a comment if you have your own stories of people that you've heard getting no offered and how, because they're always just super fun to read. I mean, come on, this is like the top of the legal world cultural lore that we're dealing with here. And be well wherever you are. Take care. See you next time.